Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of In the Know with Mr. O. Today's episode, we're going to talk about how to really drive student instruction in a way where we could really get that student discourse and that autonomy back in the classroom, basically student engagement. Okay, what we've seen, especially after the COVID times, is that there was a big foundational built on domain 2 in the Danielson Framework, which was about student respect, relationships, right, between student, and teacher. Okay, and if school districts have really worked hard, they've seen more respectful classrooms, they've seen clearer routines, and they've seen effective classroom management, which is good. You want that respect going back and forth between everybody involved. That doesn't necessarily drive student growth and student growth outcomes in the domain 3s, where you see student questioning and discourse and student engagement in that domain 3 of the Danielson Framework, which is the instructional classroom environment. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we make a switch from this? Because what we're seeing now in a lot of cases is a lot of teacher-led instruction. Checks for understanding are there, but it is not making that kind of engagement and that clarity and creativity that we want to see. In my previous episodes of AI with the reverse Bloom's taxonomy, I talked about that very much, where students want to create first and then be brought back down to that foundational center to start evaluating and thinking and reflecting and then remembering. Right? So how do we get there? Okay, what we need to look at and what we need to kind of design is, how do we get more of a depth of thinking? How do we get kids really in depth and thinking about their content? Is it based on taking a student inventory and changing our content to reflect what students are more interested in, and with that connection they will find it? What we know now is there has to be a priority shift, and that shift has to be from teacher clarity, independent seat work, assessment awareness, right? Where it's more compliance based. When you or I were in school, it was about compliance. You know that kids of today aren't necessarily going to be more compliant because they get information so much faster due to these social media and cell phones and digital devices that give information at a constant rate. So what we need is, we need student discourse as a way where it has to be done in the class. We have to be talking. We have to be reflecting with one another. That feedback that you're given as an educator has to require revision. There has to be reflection. There has to be an adjustment period and an adaptation to what that student needs to learn today. And most importantly, and I've always done this as a math professional when I would teach math, there has to be an intentionality about the grouping and the peer groups that you put them in. It could be through dyadic pairing, it could be through like pairing, it could be through student needs, but there needs to be a focus on the data in the classroom and how you group students to get that discourse and that talking amongst them brought out to the surface in a way where your classroom can be openly vibrant and robust with talking about your content. Okay, so I want you to look into those methods. We're going to discuss some of those methods even more in the future, but as a basis outline, I think this is the framework that we should be going with. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for tuning in to episode 3 of In the Know with Mr. O. I'll see ya.